Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 1, titled The Ties That Grain. Now, this episode, of course, is set inside the brand new Superman universe that started way back in the beginning of the year with Critical Commandos, then followed by Superman, and now with Season 2 of Peacemaker, which you may say, wait, Season 1, is it set inside the old universe? It's like, yeah, it is. Now, what's canon? Anything that the show mentions, whatever this season mentions, that's canon. You know what? Fuck it. Just make that last Suicide Squad canon. But then everybody will say, because Harley Quinn, does Peacemaker canon, does the original Suicide Squad canon, I think we should just when it comes to canon and seeing characters or actors betraying characters that they did play in the previous universe, we should just treat it like Judi Dench is M. She was M in the Pierce Brosnan films, and then they did the hardcore reboot with Daniel Craig in the Casino Royale, and guess who's still M? Judi Dench. And that's what we should, I think, all we know they're using that terminology, that mindset, is be like, yeah, sure, my worry's still Harley Quinn, who cares if it's connected or not, fine, connected to the other Birds of Prey in the original Suicide Squad, who cares, like that kind of mindset, right? As long as the movies are great, as long as the shows are great, you're not going to care that it's played by previous actors who play previous versions in previous universes. It's a whole, at the end of the day, who gives a shit? That could be their mindset. Who gives a shit? Just come for a good story. But the weird thing about Peacemaker is, with Season 1, is that I wasn't much of a fan of Season 1, mainly because I found Peacemaker himself such a man-child to the point of, why are we doing this? Why are we doing here? I thought at the beginning, okay, this is the arc. Okay, he's going to become a man-child. At the beginning, where he was in the Suicide, in the Suicide Squad, and then he's going to mature, and in a way, kind of make us go, whoa, how did this character become the character from what we saw in episode 1? That's what my head was thinking. But then there's a scene in the final episode of season 1 where he goes and someone's trying to give him a serious compensation, and anytime that person speaks, you get this. Peacemaker just does this. And I'm like, want to go, why are we doing here? But I am a whore when it comes to DC, so I decided, and it is set in this new universe. So I feel it's an obligation to me to talk about it, an obligation to watch it, and all that kind of stuff. And what I will say here is that this season, so far, by just one episode, it is only one episode, is really damn good. It's a big surprise tone shift that we had from series 1 to this season by the first 45 minutes. This is a more serious. This is there's humor, there's craziness. I mean, Peacemaker has a massive orgy and has an orgy party in his house. That's insane. That's insane stuff. There's a lot of dicks and boobs and vaginas swinging around the place for a good 3 minutes. And you go... And by the way, I did not time that. I'm exaggerating. Probably it's more like a minute. But, you see a lot of dongs and a lot of people having sex for a long, long period of time. So there's craziness going on. But everything feels so, mature. And everything is now a little bit more serious now. Everything feels like you have Peacemaker, he wants to be a superhero, right? He wants to be part of the Justice Gang. Remember? Yeah, that's the difference. That's one of the big changes. That's the retcon. Instead of the Justice League showing up at the end of season 1, it's now the Justice Gang. And it's all the characters that we met in Superman, which is called the Superman, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and Supergirl. So that's the difference versus the Justice League showing up in at the end of series 1. Anyway, so and anyway, but he wants to be part of the Justice Gang, but because he has a really serious, a really dangerous past, like he kills people, and there's the whole no killing rule, superheroes don't kill, and all these things, people just don't take him seriously. Even though he saved the world, people just don't take him seriously, and you can tell he's like, I want to be taken seriously. And you can feel that frustration that he has, and also how all the other characters are dealing with it. Knowing the events of the end of series 1, where Amanda Waller's daughter just routed her out, saying, "Hey, this is what Task Force X is." Told the public, Task Force X is the Suicide Squad, and the government and the world is like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Waller? This is bad. Yes, they're criminals, but you shouldn't just blow their heads off just so you can. You're the reason there was a giant starfish at the end. That's the reason. The government is not a fan of that. So you have a shift of that. You have characters dealing with that fact and how now their whole world is upside down. They definitely were hardcore. I mean, I couldn't help but laugh when the moment clearly her psychiatrist or whoever says, you have a really high case of toxic masculinity. And she's like, I have a vagina? How can, I'm a chick. I'm a woman. How the fuck am I toxic masculinity? Are you talking about toxic femininity? That's the whole thing. Toxic femininity. And the psychiatrist is like, that's a little bit sexist. You think it's a little bit sexist that you just think toxic masculinity applies to just men only. And then you get the C-bomber, but like, I couldn't help but, it's like, part of a French, but it's like, but that means, it means mate, it means good in the UK. No, it's also, and also, it's the same thing in Australia, but it's still bad. You can call someone that word and still get a smack across the face if you say that word to them. But what is the secret? Like, you had the fastball, right? To make it more like a, Even though there's a slang in Australia with that word, it's sick C word, C bomb. Yeah, which basically means you're cool. Yeah, you're awesome. That's kind of anyway, but you have hardcores is like, what is my place now? She feels lost. She's just getting fighters at bars and that. Like, it's pretty much these characters not knowing where they are, now knowing that the world is now shifting. Their world is shifting, and it finds it quite interesting. Now, we are doing what multiverse, but it sounds like, by the look of things, or pocket universes that Lex Luthor used in Superman, which I thought, oddly enough, when I saw it in the cinema, and it's like pocket universe, it's like, oh, they're introducing the fan zone already. I don't know why. I thought it was the fan zone at the beginning. It's like, no, this is not the fan zone. This is not the fan zone. But anyway, but I quite like it. I like how, like, there's humor in it. There's a level. There's humor and there's a little bit of wackiness, aka once again orgy. But there is a groundness to it. Everyone is now being more serious about it. And of course the big action sequence at the end with Peacemaker fighting Peacemaker. Yeah, it's wacky and it's short. But it's a good amount short. It's like if they found a way to piece it. It could be a simple thing of, we are on a TV budget and we don't have the budget of, say, Game of Thrones or Last of Us or something, so it's gonna not be a massive that big giant action sequence, because we want to do that big giant action sequence in episode 8. You know, if that makes sense. But anyway, I liked it. I liked this episode. Comment below and let me know your thoughts of this episode. So yeah, 30 seconds to Mars. That's not real music.